And today, like I lived it all the way through my life. Um, our children have to live in the two worlds. We can't go back to bow and arrow, even if we want to. We can't be somebody else who we're not. So we tell our kids, respect your elders, go back to the land, learn about your culture. At the same time, we tell them, go to school, get a higher education so you can make it in this world. So we got caught in between. I got caught in between as I grow up, and it still is. But I think in these both worlds, we're not perfect, and this is not perfect either. So we have to use a good tools from each end and go forward. And that's the only way. That's how we explain it to them. And so they can cope in this world and make a better decision. Right now in Arctic Village, like earlier, when the gas price went up, it went up to $10 a gallon. It never went back down. Even everywhere else, the gas went back down, but not Arctic Village. It's still $10 a gallon. I don't know what's going to happen now. But that's the kind of deal we have to deal with in Arctic Village because we're so remote, and then we still have to use gas on some, for our motors and stuff like that. But it affects us in that way too. But most of it, like I said, 75% is from subsistence. So it's really good. I like that living in Arctic Village because I just have a little cabin, which is 20 by 20, and they're talking about running water. I said, no, I don't need running water. We got a little running water place, and one place is like a laundromat where they do laundry, shower, and flush toilet. And that's the whole community use it. School got running water, but that's the only place. But if we get a running water, I know how we're going to maintain it. Too much waste. And now we're going to let the water run, and that's my problem. So I like to sing a song before my time is up. How much time do I say? To us, a wilderness, as a Native American, we had the hardest time finding which end word for wilderness, because to us it sounds more like it's there to be tame. But we're trying to define it. Finally, we came up with a definition what wilderness means to us. Wilderness is the way the Creator made it. Leave it the way it is, because when we take care of the land a long time ago, even now we're trying to teach it back to our kids, because our kids got away from a lot of our ways to our language, and like I said, drug and alcohol, and we used to that. We don't leave anything behind. They even brush it with a willow or branches just to get the scent away. And the bones that left behind, we put in a puddle or stream or river or lake. It's good for fish, and it doesn't leave behind a scent. So that's how careful we used to be, and we leave it like the way it is when we leave our camp, and so we don't leave any evidence behind. And we're trying to get the practice back in that way. And I know the environmentalists, they're very careful about going into the refuge. So we can combine how we can do it better. We sing, all our songs is sacred. It's a prayer to keep our nation healthy. this is, I'm going to sing a caribou skin hut dance. We say, "Vatsai, ningba, she, chatsa." That means caribou skin hut dance. We used to live in a caribou skin hut we used to carry the poles because we're long distant people. You know how huge that refuge is. Long distant people, and we follow where the caribou is, so we don't own very much, very basic ownership to basic stuff. That's all. Everything they carry on their back is that's all they own. And our people used to be lots of us up in that area a long time ago. And like he said about the Native American talking about how plenty there was before, we have the same story too. Every springtime when the birds and ducks come back up to our area, when the sun starts coming up, more and more birds and ducks come in. They say it was so loud you can't even talk normal back to each other. They said you practically have to yell at each other to hear each other because they're so noisy out there. And then they said that when the springtime, when fish move, or fall time, they said the water even trickles. That's how much fish there was. And then when ducks and birds come in, they even said it'd make even shadow over the land. And now after the contact, we lost all that. And I feel like since we're protecting the refuge, I think more life is coming back, more prayers. And this is welcome song. I welcome you to Arctic Village. I welcome you to Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. I welcome you to Bruce Museum. Thank you for all your welcome. Hey, hey, ha, hey, 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 ha, hey, ha, hey. But again, climate change, global warming is real in the Arctic, and it's affecting our way of life as Cochin people, because that climate change, like middle of the winter we had rain. That means it got on willow and the willow froze, and it's hard for rabbit to get to their food. And then at one time, 3-4 years ago, the snow didn't come in time. That means the ground is freezing deeper. The lake or the rivers freeze deeper, so it freeze out some fish spawn, fish out of the river or lake. And then when it freezes deeper, it affects a hibernating animal like polar bears and grizzlies and beaver and muskrat and all those, they get called out too. So all that is issue to us. And a lot of time we use a fur, like beaver fur we have, and a fur around our hood to keep the frost out of our face. All that we need, but then sometimes the fur is not that good. When it's too warm, the fur stays short. And when it's cold, it gets nice and fluffy and long, so the animal would stay warm. And each spring, they lose all their hair and start new hair again. Same thing with caribou. So when weather is not normal, then that get to be a problem for the animal. In many ways, it's a problem in the Arctic. It is really real. And climate change, I would say we had to do our part. It had to come from our living room, I guess. I do my own recycle in my own house. It's not even a chore to me. It's something that my way of life. And if we just make it our way of life instead of doing somebody a favor or whatever, I think we can do it. And, just reuse, reduce, and even refuse these bad stuff. So that's the way we can make things a lot better.